Hyun-Ki Park stared at the massive glass doors of the Galactic Academy of Sciences. His heart beat faster as he adjusted his plain black backpack. The building looked like something from an old sci-fi movie, with its floating platforms and shimmering force fields. Ships of different sizes flew overhead, carrying students from across the galaxy. "Remember, you represent Earth," he whispered to himself, touching the small Earth flag pin on his jacket. At 18 years old, he was the first human to ever attend the academy. As he walked through the doors, a blue hologram appeared. "Welcome to Galactic Academy. Please proceed to medical screening." The medical bay was bright white and spotlessly clean. A tall, silver-skinned doctor named Tam Sun looked at her screens with wide eyes. "This can't be right," she said, checking her equipment again. "Your bone density is 4 times higher than our standard measures. And your muscle mass." She shook her head in disbelief. "Is something wrong?" Hyun-Ki asked. "Wrong? No, fascinating is the word. You're from Earth, correct? The Class 12 planet." Before he could answer, 2 students walked in. One had slightly purple skin and silver hair, a girl named Dalmi from the New Korea colony. The other, Rock, had scales instead of skin and came from Centauri 7. They were supposed to be his student guides. Dalmi looked at the doctor's screens and gasped. "Those are your normal readings. How are you even alive?" Hyun-Ki smiled awkwardly. "Earth isn't that bad." "Not that bad." Rock's scales changed color with excitement. "Your planet has active volcanoes, earthquakes, deadly storms, and dangerous animals. The gravity alone would crush most of us." "Well, yeah, but we have nice beaches too," Hyun-Ki said with a shrug. Dr. Tam Sun couldn't stop taking readings. "Your immune system shows signs of fighting off thousands of different pathogens. Your body has adapted to handle multiple types of toxins. Even your digestive system can process substances that would kill most species." Dalmi stepped back slightly. "Are you safe to be around?" Hyun-Ki felt his face get hot. "Of course. I'm not dangerous. Humans are very careful about space travel safety. I've been through 3 months of quarantine and got all the required vaccines." Rock moved closer, curiosity winning over caution. "Is it true that humans drink poison for fun?" "Poison? Oh, you mean coffee? That's just a mild stimulant for us." "And you eat capsaicin, the chemical weapon?" Dalmi asked. "You mean spicy food. Wait until I tell you about Korean hot sauce." Dr. Tam Sun finally put down her scanner. "Remarkable. Simply remarkable. I'm assigning myself as your faculty mentor, Hyun-Ki. The Academy will want to document everything about Earth's first student." As they left the medical bay, more students stopped to stare at Hyun-Ki. Some used their devices to scan him, while others whispered to each other. He heard words like Deathworlder and impossible species. "Don't worry about them," Dalmi said, noticing his discomfort. "They're just surprise. Most of us come from Class 3 or 4 worlds. Meeting someone from a Class 12 planet is like meeting a legend." "What's your class schedule?" Rock asked, changing the subject. Hyun-Ki pulled out his tablet. "Advanced physics, xenobiology, galactic history, and something called safe environment training." Dalmi and Rock looked at each other. "That's for students from harsh worlds," Dalmi explained, "to help them adjust to normal environments. But I've never seen anyone take it from a Class 12 world before." They reached Hyun-Ki's room. His roommate, Won-Shik, was already there. Won-Shik had green skin that seemed to glow and 4 arms. He looked up from his computer and his eyes widened. "You're the human. Amazing. I have so many questions. Is it true you sleep for hours every day? And you actually enjoy temperature variations, and your bones are made of calcium?" Hyun-Ki put down his bag and smiled. Maybe being different wasn't so bad. At least his classmates seemed interested rather than scared now. "How about this?" he said. "I'll answer your questions if you tell me about your worlds too. Fair trade." Wonshik's skin glowed brighter with excitement. Deal. Let me start recording. Day 1. Living with a Deathworlder. A scientific journal. Hyun-Ki laughed. His time at the academy was going to be interesting, to say the least. The physical education dome at the Galactic Academy looked more like a high-tech circus than a gym. Anti-gravity platforms floated at different heights, and strange exercise machines lined the walls. Hyun-Ki stood with his classmates, wearing the standard Silver Academy uniform. Today, we'll test basic physical capabilities, announced the instructor, a tall being named Master Ho-Jin who had metallic blue skin. Remember to stay within your species' safety limits. Hyun-Ki watched as his classmates demonstrated their abilities. Dalmay gracefully floated through low-gravity exercises, while Rock used his natural agility to climb the training walls. Wonshik, with his 4 arms, easily juggled training weights. Park Hyun-Ki, you're next, Master Ho-Jin called. We've adjusted the gravity to Earth normal for you. Please demonstrate a standard warm-up. Hyun-Ki nodded and stepped onto the exercise platform. He started with simple push-ups, not thinking much about it. The room suddenly went quiet. By the stars, someone whispered, "Look at the pressure readings." The floor beneath Hyun-Ki's hands showed spreading circles of energy, like ripples in a pond. Each push-up registered on the room's sensors with a bright flash. 30 push-ups completed. The room's computer announced, "Warning, platform stress levels approaching maximum." Master Ho-Jin quickly checked his tablet. "Stop. That's enough." His blue skin had turned slightly pale. "Hyun-Ki, did you say this was a normal warm-up?" "Yes, sir. On Earth, we usually do more, but I can stop if it's causing problems." Wonshik, who was recording everything on his tablet, spoke up. "More. The force you're generating could dent starship hull plating." "Really?" Hyun-Ki looked confused. "But these are just basic exercises. Wait until you see what athletes on Earth can do." Dalmi moved closer, fascination overcoming her usual caution. "Show us something else. Something humans do for fun." Hyun-Ki thought for a moment. "Well, there's jump rope. It's a children's game on Earth." Master Ho-Jin adjusted the settings. "Proceed, but carefully." Hyun-Ki picked up a light training rope and started jumping. Simple hops at first, then crossing patterns, then double jumps. The class watched in amazement as the gravity sensors went crazy with each landing. "Impossible," Rock said, his scales turning a bright yellow with excitement. "The impact force should shatter your leg bones." "This is nothing," Hyun-Ki said between jumps. "On Earth, kids do this for hours." Wonshik's fingers flew across his tablet. Day 2 notes. Human bone structure appears to defy known physics. Suggest further study of Earth's high-gravity adaptations. After class, a group of students surrounded Hyun-Ki in the hallway. They all had questions. Is it true humans run for fun? Can you really lift more than your own body weight? Do Earth children actually climb trees for entertainment? Before Hyun-Ki could answer, Professor Tam's son appeared. "Give him some space," she said, then smiled at the unintended pun. "Hyun-Ki, would you mind coming to the research lab? We'd like to understand more about human physical capabilities." In the lab, Tam's son showed him a wall of screens displaying his exercise data. "Your species is remarkable. What we considered extreme stress is merely a warm-up for you. It changes everything we thought we knew about Class 12 world adaptations." "I'm just average for a human," Hyun-Ki said honestly. "You should see our Olympic athletes." "Olympic?" "It's a global competition where humans push their physical limits. Running, swimming, lifting weights." Professor Tam's son's eyes lit up. "Would you be willing to share some videos of these Olympics? For research purposes, of course." Later that evening, Hyun-Ki sat in his room, messaging his parents back on Earth. Wonshik watched him type, still taking notes. "I don't understand," Wonshik said. "How can you move your fingers so fast without getting tired?" Hyun-Ki laughed. This is nothing. Wait until I show you video games. Though maybe we should wait until they reinforce the exercise equipment first. One chick's skin glowed with excitement. This is going to be the most interesting year of my life. A real live Deathworlder as a roommate. Hyun-ki smiled. He was starting to realize that what was normal on Earth was amazing to everyone else. Maybe being different wasn't so bad after all. He just hoped the Academy's equipment could keep up with him. A Class 3 survival training. Hyun-ki read the notice again. The Academy was taking their class to Planet Verdant for a 3-day outdoor course. His classmates looked worried. It's the toughest training world in the sector, Dalmai explained, her purple skin paling slightly. The gravity is 1.2 standard units, and it has actual wild animals. One chick pulled up images of Planet Verdant on his tablet. Look at these dangerous conditions. Temperature changes of up to 10 degrees, unpurified water, and actual dirt on the ground. Hyun-ki tried not to laugh. The planet looked like a gentle Earth park in springtime. The next morning, their transport ship landed on Verdant. Professor Tam's son handed out safety suits to everyone except Hyun-ki. Don't you need protection? Rock asked, his scales turning a worried blue color. I'll be fine in regular clothes, Hyun-ki said, wearing hiking boots, jeans, and a t-shirt. This is like a nice day back home. Their first task was setting up camp. While others struggled with the high-tech shelter pods, Hyun-ki gathered wood for a fire. Professor Tam's son watched in shock as he picked up sticks with his bare hands. Those could have bacteria, she gasped. That's okay. Human immune systems handle bacteria well, Hyun-ki explained, arranging the wood. Would anyone like to learn how to make a campfire? The alien students watched from a safe distance as Hyun-ki created flames using a simple fire starter. Their eyes grew wide when he pulled out marshmallows from his bag. You're going to eat something cooked on actual fire? Jae-yun, the medical student, asked in amazement. She had joined their class recently to study human biology. It's an Earth camping tradition, Hyun-ki said, showing them how to roast marshmallows. Just don't let them catch on fire unless you like them burnt. During their hike the next day, something crashed through the bushes. A large animal, similar to a deer but with 6 legs, appeared on the trail. Everyone froze in terror. Quick, activate your defense shields, one chick shouted. But Hyun-ki just stood still and spoke softly. It's okay. It's more scared of us than we are of it. Let's just stay quiet and let it pass. The creature looked at them with large eyes, then wandered away peacefully. The class stared at Hyun-ki in disbelief. How did you know what to do? Dalmai asked. Earth has lots of wild animals. We learn how to respect them and keep our distance, he explained. Later that afternoon, dark clouds appeared in the sky. The camp's weather alert system blared warnings about incoming rain. Everyone rushed to their shelter pods, but Hyun-ki stayed outside. Hyun-ki, get inside, Professor Tam's son called out. But water falling from the sky could be dangerous. He smiled and held out his hand as the first raindrops fell. This is the best part of camping. Rain is perfectly normal on Earth. We even dance in it sometimes. His classmates watched through their pod windows as Hyun-ki enjoyed the rain shower. Jae-yun took detailed notes about human water resistance. That evening, huddled in the main shelter, Hyun-ki taught them to tell scary stories. He had just finished a mild ghost story when a loud thunder crack made everyone jump. What was that? Rock squeaked, his scales turning white with fear. Just thunder, Hyun-ki said calmly. Wait for it. Look, a flash of lightning lit up the sky. Your planet has energy discharges in the atmosphere, one chick asked, adding to his ever-growing notes. And you survive them. We even have special houses to watch storms, Hyun-ki said. Some people chase storms for fun. By the final day, his classmates had started to relax a little. They tried drinking from water bottles instead of their filtered suits. Some even touched trees with their bare hands, after using sanitizer. As they packed up to leave, Professor Tamsun pulled Hyun-Ki aside. "You've taught them more than just survival skills," she said. "You've shown them that different doesn't mean dangerous." Hyun-Ki smiled as he watched one chick try to roast one last marshmallow. Maybe this camping trip had done more than just pass their survival class. It had brought them all a little closer to understanding each other. "Next time," he said, "I'll teach you about swimming." The horrified looks on their faces made him laugh. They still had a lot to learn about Earth activities. The student lounge at Galactic Academy had never been so crowded. Word had spread that Hyun-Ki was sharing stories about Earth during evening breaks. Today, even students from advanced classes came to listen. "Tell us about the moving ground again," someone called from the back. Hyun-Ki sat in the center of the room, surrounded by curious faces. One chick had his tablet ready to record everything. "You mean earthquakes?" Hyun-Ki pulled up a hologram of Earth. "They happen when parts of Earth's surface move against each other. Sometimes the whole ground shakes. And humans just live with this," Dalne asked, hugging her knees. "We build special buildings that can move with the shakes," Hyun-Ki explained. "My school back home had earthquake drills every month. We'd hide under our desks until it was over." Professor Tamsun, who had started attending these sessions, typed rapidly on her device. "Your species developed technology to resist planetary movement instead of leaving." "Well, yeah. Earth is our home. We adapt to it." Hyun-Ki thought for a moment. "Want to hear something really interesting? We have mountains that explode." The room went silent. Rock scales turned pure white. "Volcanoes," Hyun-Ki continued. "They shoot hot melted rock into the air. Some people live right next to them, because the soil is good for farming." Jae-Yun raised her hand. "What about the sky water you mentioned before?" "The rain." "Oh, that's not even the exciting part," Hyun-Ki grinned. "Sometimes rain freezes into little ice balls called hail, and in winter, frozen water falls from the sky as snow. Your planet throws rocks and ice at you." One chick's skin glowed brightly with excitement. "How do you survive?" "We make fun out of it. We build snow people, have snow fights, and slide down frozen hills on boards." Dalme shook her head in amazement. "Every time I think I understand humans, you say something even more incredible." Hyun-Ki pulled out his tablet and showed them pictures from home. Images of thunderstorms, snowy mountains, and giant waves filled the room's hologram display. "This is what we call surfing." He pointed to people riding waves. "You stand on a board and let the ocean throw you around." "For fun?" several voices asked at once. "Definitely for fun. Oh, and here's my favorite food, extra spicy rice cakes." Jae-Yun scanned the image with her medical device. "The capsaicin levels in this would be lethal to most species." "It's just a nice snack," Hyun-Ki shrugged. "Though my mom makes it much spicier." Professor Tamsun stood up. "Students, do you realize what we're learning here? Earth species didn't just survive their death world. They turned its dangers into entertainment. Tell us about Earth animals," someone shouted. Hyun-Ki showed them pictures of bears, lions, and sharks. "These are some of our dangerous animals, but we also keep smaller animals as pets." He showed them pictures of dogs and cats. The class cooed at the images. "You let these predators live in your homes?" Rock asked in disbelief. "We've made friends with them over thousands of years," Hyun-Ki explained. "They're part of our families now." One chick's notes were getting longer by the minute. "Humans befriend predators, eat poison for enjoyment, and play in deadly weather conditions. This defies all known survival logic." The questions kept coming until late in the evening. As students finally started leaving, Dalme stayed behind. "You know," she said, "when you first arrived, everyone thought humans would be scary and dangerous. But now." "Now what?" Hyun-Ki asked. "Now we see that humans are amazing. You don't just survive your death world, you love it. You find joy in things that should be terrifying." Professor Tamsun nodded in agreement. Your stories have become the most popular educational content in the Academy's history. Students are starting to understand that strength comes in many forms. Hyun-ki smiled, feeling proud of his home planet. Wait until I tell you about extreme sports. There's this thing called skydiving where we jump out of flying vehicles. What hit? Everyone still in the room shouted. Maybe we'll save that story for next time. Hyun-ki laughed. He was starting to enjoy surprising his new friends with tales of Earth. Red lights flashed through the Galactic Academy's hallways. The station's AI voice echoed off the walls. Warning. Solar storm approaching. All students proceed to shelter areas. Hyun-ki was in the middle of xenobiology class when the alarm started. Professor Tam-sun rushed in, her blue skin looking pale. The station's radiation shields are failing, she announced. Most species must evacuate to the lower levels immediately. Students began to panic. Dalmy's purple skin turned almost white with fear. The radiation levels will be lethal within hours. Not everyone needs to evacuate, Professor Tam-sun said, checking her tablet. Species with high radiation resistance can stay to help maintain critical systems. That includes, she looked up at Hyun-ki, humans. Wait, what? One chick's forearms froze in mid-motion. Humans can resist radiation. Earth's natural radiation levels are higher than most inhabited worlds. Hyun-ki explained. We've evolved some protection against it. Professor Tam-sun nodded. Hyun-ki, we need volunteers to help repair the shield generators. The repair bots can't handle the radiation, but a human might survive it. I'll help, Hyun-ki said without hesitation. What needs to be done? The professor quickly showed him diagrams of the shield systems. The main generator is overheating. We need someone to manually restart the cooling system. As most students headed to the shelter areas, Hyun-ki and a few other radiation-resistant species went to work. The hallways near the shield generators were already hot from the failing systems. The temperature is reaching dangerous levels, warned a green-skinned student named Kang-dae, who could also handle radiation. This isn't so bad, Hyun-ki said, wiping sweat from his forehead. It's like a hot summer day in Seoul. They reached the main generator room. Warning signs flashed everywhere. Danger. Extreme. Radiation levels. Even with your resistance, you shouldn't stay more than 30 minutes, Professor Tam-sun said through the comm system. Hyun-ki looked at the overheating machinery. Back home, I helped my mom fix our air conditioning unit during a heatwave. This isn't much different. He began working on the cooling systems while Kang-dae monitored the radiation levels. The temperature kept rising, but Hyun-ki remembered his Earth survival training. Humans have something called sweat, he explained to Kang-dae. It helps us stay cool in high temperatures. Your body produces its own cooling liquid. Kang-dae asked in amazement, is there anything humans can't do? Working quickly, Hyun-ki found the problem. A damaged power coupling. He remembered the camping trip and how humans had learned to handle dangerous situations carefully but quickly. Almost got it, he said, reconnecting the final wire. The cooling system hummed back to life. Cold air began flowing through the room. Shield generators returning to normal function. The station's AI announced. Radiation levels decreasing. In the control room, Professor Tam-sun watched the readings with relief. The human did it. He actually did it. When Hyun-ki returned to the main halls, students were emerging from the shelter areas. They looked at him with new respect. You went into a radiation zone, on purpose, Dalmay asked. Someone had to fix it, Hyun-ki shrugged. Besides, the heat wasn't as bad as that time I helped clean my grandmother's attic in summer. Wonchik was already recording new notes. Day 47. Human shows incredible radiation and heat resistance. Treats dangerous emergency as routine maintenance. Later that evening, Professor Tam-sun called a special meeting. Today's events have taught us something important, she said. What we consider extreme danger might be just another challenge for other species. Like how humans treat deadly situations as normal. Rock asked, his scales showing patterns of admiration. Exactly, the professor smiled. Perhaps we should stop thinking of Earth as just a death world and start seeing it as a training ground for some of the galaxy's toughest survivors. Hyun-Ki listened to their praise with embarrassment. Really, it wasn't a big deal. Though I could use a cold drink. Anyone want to try some Earth-style ice cream? Is it dangerous? Someone asked nervously. Only if you eat it too fast. Hyun-Ki grinned. Some things about humans would always surprise his classmates. The academy's main hall had transformed into a colorful display of alien cultures. Floating lights in rainbow colors danced near the ceiling, and the air filled with strange smells from 100 different worlds. Today was the annual Galactic Cultural Festival. Are you sure about this, Hyun-Ki? Delme asked, helping him set up the Earth display booth. Some of these Earth foods might be too intense for other species. Hyun-Ki carefully arranged his items on the table. He had spent weeks getting special permission to bring these Earth treasures through quarantine. Don't worry, he smiled. I brought mild versions of everything. Well, mostly mild. One chick used all 4 arms to hang up pictures of Earth above their booth. Images of oceans, mountains, cities, and wildlife created a window into human life. One picture of a thunderstorm made several passing students jump. You live with all of this? A young student asked, pointing at a volcano photo. These are from my family's vacation photos, Hyun-Ki explained. That's me standing near Mount Fuji in Japan. Professor Tam-sun stopped by their booth, her eyes widening at the display. Is that real Earth food? Yes. Would you like to try some? Hyun-Ki held up a plate of carefully prepared samples. These are rice cakes with very mild sauce, bread from my mother's recipe, and some simple fruits. A crowd gathered as Hyun-Ki began his food demonstration. Jae-yun stood nearby with medical scanners, monitoring everyone's reactions. The bread is made by letting tiny organisms grow in the dough, Hyun-Ki explained. Then we apply high heat to it. You eat something that's been invaded by microbes. Someone gasped. Yeast is friendly. We've been using it for thousands of years. Hyun-Ki took a big bite to show it was safe. Slowly, brave students began trying the samples. Their reactions ranged from surprise to delight. This fruit, it's sweet but also sour, Rock said, his scales turning bright yellow with excitement. That's an orange, Hyun-Ki explained. Very normal on Earth. Wait until you try chocolate. Delme, who had been filming everything for her documentary, The Deathworlder Among Us, captured the moment when Professor Tam-sun tried her first piece of chocolate. This is incredible, the professor said, her blue skin glowing slightly. How do humans resist eating this all day? Some of us don't resist, Hyun-Ki laughed. That's why we invented exercise. The festival's highlight came when Hyun-Ki demonstrated Earth sports and martial arts. He had set up a small practice area with safety mats. This is a basic martial art move called a roll, he said, performing a simple forward roll. The crowd watched in amazement as he moved smoothly across the mat. You deliberately throw yourself at the ground? One chick asked, recording everything. And this is considered basic. It's how we learn to fall safely, Hyun-Ki explained. On Earth, gravity is always trying to pull you down, so we learn to work with it. He demonstrated more moves, simple kicks, punches, and blocks. Each movement drew gasps from the audience. The force in a single human punch could dent metal, Jae-yun announced, checking her scanners. Yet they used these skills for sport. Delme's documentary cameras captured everything. This is amazing footage, she said. Nobody will believe humans do these things for fun. As the festival continued, more students came to learn about Earth. Hyun-Ki taught them simple games like rock, paper, scissors, and showed videos of Earth celebrations. During New Year in Korea, we eat special foods and play traditional games, he explained, showing pictures of his family's celebrations. Your species gathers in large groups to celebrate surviving another orbit. asked the curious student. We celebrate lots of things, Hyun-ki said. Births, marriages, holidays, sometimes just because it's Friday. By the end of the festival, the Earth booth had become the most popular display. Students left with new understanding and slightly braver taste buds. You've done something remarkable, Professor Tam-sun told Hyun-ki as they cleaned up. You've shown them that Earth isn't just a death world. It's a place of joy, celebration, and life. Hyun-ki smiled, packing away the empty food containers. Maybe next festival I can bring some real spicy food. The horror on everyone's faces made him laugh. Some things about Earth would always be a little too extreme for his galactic friends. I don't believe any of it, Hajum announced in the middle of the academy cafeteria. The tall student from the advanced systems planet stood with his arms crossed, looking at Hyun-ki. No species could survive all those Earth conditions. You must be making it up. The room went quiet. Students stopped eating to watch. One chick's skin dimmed with concern as he recorded the scene. What exactly don't you believe? Hyun-ki asked calmly, putting down his spicy noodles. Everything. The earthquakes, the storms, the spicy food, the high gravity. Hejun's silver eyes narrowed. I think humans are exaggerating to seem special. Dalmai stood up, her purple skin darkening with anger. We've seen Hyun-ki do amazing things. Remember the radiation emergency. Simple luck. Hejun waved his hand. I challenge you, Earth student, to prove your stories. Professor Tam-sun, who had been watching from nearby, stepped forward. Perhaps we can arrange a proper test. The Academy has access to a Class 8 testing world. Class 8. Hejun's confident smile wavered slightly. That's quite dangerous. For most species, yes, the professor agreed. But according to Hyun-ki, it should be manageable for a human. Shall we arrange a supervised visit? The next day, a small group gathered at the Academy's transport bay. Hejun wore the latest protective suit model. Hyun-ki wore jeans and a t-shirt. Are you sure you don't want a suit? Rock asked, his scales showing worried patterns. I'll be fine, Hyun-ki smiled. The planet's conditions are like a mild autumn day on Earth. The test world, called Training Ground 7, had higher gravity than standard planets, variable weather, and terrain that changed without warning. Perfect for proving human adaptability. As their ship landed, Professor Tam-sun explained the rules. You'll both follow a marked path through different climate zones. The goal is to reach the checkpoint while collecting sample markers. Hajun activated his suit's protective fields. Ready when you are, human. They started walking. The first zone was a rocky area with 1.5 times normal gravity. Hajun's suit whirred and strained, helping him move. Hyun-ki walked normally, even stopping to pick up interesting rocks. The gravity here is refreshing, Hyun-ki said, like carrying a backpack full of books. The weather changed suddenly. Rain poured down. Hajun's suit began beeping warnings about water damage. Hyun-ki just shook his head to clear the water from his hair and kept walking. How are you not bothered by this? Hajun demanded, his suit struggling with the conditions. On Earth, we have something called monsoon season, Hyun-ki explained. This is just a light shower compared to that. They reached an area where the ground shook randomly. Hajun's suit sensors went crazy, trying to keep him balanced. Hyun-ki adjusted his stance naturally with each shake, like surfing on solid ground. Earthquake training from elementary school, he explained. Every Earth kid learns this. The final challenge was a climb up a steep hill in hot conditions. Hajun's suit started overheating. Hyun-ki, though sweating, kept climbing steadily. This is like hiking with my family in summer, he said, reaching down to help Hajun up a difficult spot. Want some water? I brought extra. At the checkpoint, Hajun sat down heavily, his suit making tired noises. Professor Tam-sun checked their vital signs. Remarkable, she said. Hyun-ki's readings show normal exertion levels, like a pleasant exercise session. I apologize, Hajun said, removing his suit's helmet. I was wrong about humans. Your abilities aren't exaggerated at all. Hyun-ki helped him stand up. No hard feelings. Earth conditions seem impossible if you haven't lived there. Want to get some ice cream when we get back? The cold might help after all this heat. Later, in the Academy Hall, Won-shik updated his notes. Day 89. Human casually proves Earth stories by treating Class 8 world like a park. Continues to surprise everyone by staying friendly even after being challenged. You know what's really impressive? Dalmai said to the gathering crowd. Not just that he did it, but that he helped his challenger along the way. Professor Tamsun nodded. Perhaps that's the most remarkable thing about humans, not just their physical abilities, but their capacity to use that strength to help others. Hyun-ki just smiled, enjoying his ice cream. Another normal day for an Earth student in space. The last day of the academic year arrived at the Galactic Academy. The main hall sparkled with floating lights as students gathered for the closing ceremony. Hyun-ki sat with his classmates, thinking about how much had changed in 1 year. Attention, everyone. Professor Tamsun stood at the podium, her blue skin glowing with excitement. This year has been historic for our academy. For the first time, we included a student from Earth, a Class 12 world. What we learned has changed everything. The professor waved her hand, and holograms appeared showing scenes from the past year. Hyun-ki during the radiation emergency, the cultural festival, and the Class 8 World Challenge. Thanks to our Earth student, we're opening a new research department, she announced. The Earth Adaptation Studies Center will help us understand how humans survive and thrive in extreme conditions. Won-shik stood up next, holding his tablet. I'm proud to present my research paper, Living with a Deathworlder. A year of surprises. It's already become the most downloaded study in Academy history. The crowd applauded as Won-shik shared some highlights. Humans don't just survive their harsh world. They enjoy it. They turn dangerous conditions into sports. They make friends with predators. They eat spicy food for fun. Dalmi took the stage next. Her purple skin glowed as she presented her documentary. The Deathworlder Among Us played on the giant screens, showing Hyun-ki's journey from nervous new student to respected classmate. But the biggest surprise, Dalmi said, wasn't his physical abilities. It was learning that humans are kind, helpful, and love teaching others about their world. Rock, his scales showing proud colors, announced the next big news. The Academy is inviting 10 more human students next year. Hyun-ki will help mentor them. Hyun-ki looked surprised. I will. Of course. Professor Tamsun smiled. Who better to help new Earth students adjust? Plus, we need someone to teach the staff how to prepare for human enthusiasm. The professor pressed a button, and a new section of the Academy appeared on the hall's map. We've reinforced this area with Earth-grade materials. We call it the Human Wing. It has stronger exercise equipment, special cooking areas for spicy food, and emergency supplies for what humans call parties. Everyone laughed, remembering how Hyun-ki's birthday party had overwhelmed the regular recreation room's systems. Hajun, who had become a good friend after the Class 8 World Challenge, stood up. We've also created a new student guide, Understanding Your Human Classmate. Rule 1. If they say something is fun, check the safety protocols first. More laughter filled the hall. Hyun-ki couldn't help smiling. Finally, Professor Tamsun said, we have a special announcement. The Galactic Education Council has officially changed Earth's classification. It's still a Class 12 world, but with a new note, home to one of the most adaptable and resilient species in the galaxy. The ceremony ended with a celebration that mixed traditions from all worlds. Students tried Earth dance moves while eating alien snacks. Some brave souls even attempted Hyun-ki's mother's special spicy rice cakes, with medical staff standing by. Later, as Hyun-ki packed his room for the break, Won-shik helped with his forearms. Will you miss us during Earth's summer? His roommate asked. Of course. But I'll be back soon with the new human students. Hyun-ki grinned. Wait until you meet my sister. She thinks I'm too careful. One chick's skin turned pale. Too careful? Don't worry, Hyun-ki laughed. I'll teach you all how to surf first. It's easier than skydiving. Professor Tam's son watched from the doorway, smiling. One human student had taught them more about strength, friendship, and adaptation than years of research. Now they were ready for more. Just promise me one thing, she said to Hyun-ki. Warn us before you introduce them to Earth sports. I'm not sure the reinforced human wing is strong enough for what you call basketball. Hyun-ki looked around at his alien friends, feeling proud. Earth wasn't just a death world anymore. It was a place that taught its people to be strong, brave, and kind. And now the galaxy was beginning to understand that. Next year will be amazing, he said. And everyone knew that when a human said, amazing, they should probably double-check the safety protocols, just in case.